Let your eyes close. There is nothing to fix tonight. Nothing to get through. Nothing to brace for. Nothing waiting on the other side of this hour that needs you to stay awake worrying about it. Whatever has been hard lately can stay exactly where it is, just outside this room, and it will keep until morning. Most of it will be smaller in the light. Some of it will be gone. Breathe in slowly through the nose. Let the breath travel all the way down, past the throat, past the chest, into the soft low part of the belly. Hold it there a moment gently, the way you would cup something warm in both hands. And let it out through the lips, even more slowly than it came in, as if you were cooling a spoonful of soup on a cold night. Again, in through the nose, gathering. Out through the mouth, releasing. With this breath, let the shoulders come down from wherever they have climbed to. Let them fall away from your ears. Let the hands uncurl. Let the long muscles along your spine give up their grip on the day, one by one, from the base of your neck all the way down to the small of your back. One more. And as you let this one go, let the face soften. The jaw. The small muscles around the eyes. The space between the eyebrows, where you have been holding a question for a long time now. Let your attention move down through the body slowly, like warm water finding its level. Feel the weight of your head sinking into the pillow, fully given up to it, nothing held. Feel the loosening across the chest, the ribs rising and falling on their own, asking nothing of you. Feel the arms grow heavy where they rest, the hands open. Feel the long bones of the legs settle, the ankles falling outward, the feet finally still after carrying you all this way. Wherever you find a held place, a guarded place, breathe toward it once, and let it be soft. You are not going anywhere now. There is nowhere left to be tonight except exactly here, in the dark, held. Because you came here with a question, perhaps. You have heard that the Saturn return is hard, and you have lived enough of it now to know that this is true. But you may also have noticed something stranger, that it is not evenly hard, that there is a stretch in the middle of it, a particular season, where the weight gathers and presses down harder than at any other time. People who have lived through it call it the hardest 6 months. Tonight we are going to walk into those months together, slowly in the dark, and look at what is actually happening inside them. Not to make them less true, only to make them less lonely. You do not have to remember any of this. Let the understanding settle on its own, the way snow settles, and let everything else drift off with the sound of my voice. Here is the plain truth of it, told softly. Your Saturn return is not one single moment. It is a long approach, a long arrival, and a long departure, spread across roughly 2.5 to 3 years of your life. Saturn is the slowest of the visible planets. It takes about 29.5 years to walk one full circle of the sky and return to the place it stood on the night you were born. For you, born in the late 1990s, that place is Aries in the sidereal sky the Vedic tradition uses. So somewhere around your 29th or 30th year, Saturn comes home to its birth seat, and for a while it stands very close to where it began. You are not alone in this, though it has felt lonely. A whole generation born across the late 1990s carries Saturn in Aries, and so a whole generation is walking down into this same valley at roughly the same time, each of you on your own path, each of you certain that you are the only one who has fallen this far behind. You are not behind. You are on time. Aries is the first sign, the raw spark, the place of the warrior and the new beginning, and Saturn, the slow gray teacher of limits, is the last thing that fire ever wants to meet. To have your Saturn return land in Aries is to have the part of you that wants to leap meet the part of the universe that says, not yet, not like that, not until you have learned to wait. That meeting is the whole of these years, and it reaches its sharpest point in the months we are walking into now. But within that long season, there is a center. There is a stretch where Saturn is closest to the exact degree it held at your birth, where the pressure is most concentrated. Often this is around the final crossing, the last of the passes Saturn makes before it moves on for good. Astrologers sometimes call this the third pass or the final hit. For many people it lands as a stretch of about 6 months where everything feels heaviest, slowest, most stripped down. Where the lessons that the whole return has been teaching arrive all at once, and ask to be paid in full. This is not punishment. I want you to hear that clearly, even as you drift. Saturn is not angry with you. Saturn does not do anything quickly, and it does not do anything for show. It is the planet of time, of bone, of gravity, of the long, slow truth of things. And what it is doing in these hardest months is simple, even if it does not feel simple. It is taking away everything that was never really load-bearing so that what remains can actually hold your weight. It is the test that comes at the end of the long course. And the reason it feels like the hardest 6 months is that this is the part where the old structure finishes falling, and the new one has not yet been built. You are standing in the gap between them, in the dark, which is exactly where we are going now. Imagine that you are walking down into a valley in the deep of winter. You have been descending for a long time. The path behind you climbs back up toward a brighter, easier country. The country of your early 20s, where things moved fast and mistakes were cheap and the light was long. But you are not there anymore. You have come down, season by season, into the low cold heart of the year, and now you have reached the very floor of the valley. It is the deepest part of winter here. Not the first frost, which was almost beautiful. Not the early snow, which still felt like an event. This is the long flat middle of the cold, the part with no holidays in it. The part where the light is shortest and the ground is frozen hardest and the trees have given up every leaf and stand as bare dark shapes against a pale sky. This is the season nobody writes songs about. The hardest 6 months made into a landscape. And it is quiet here. So quiet. The kind of quiet that has weight to it. Your footsteps make a sound on the frozen ground and then the silence closes back over them. Your breath shows in the air and vanishes. Nothing is growing. Nothing is blooming. If you did not know better, you would think the whole world had stopped, had died, had simply given up on the idea of spring. But you do know better. Because if you stand very still here, on the floor of this frozen valley, and you listen underneath the silence, you can hear it. A low, faint, continuous sound. Water. There is a river running through this valley, and even now, in the hardest cold, even with a lid of ice laid over the top of it, the water underneath is still moving, still going somewhere. The river never actually stopped. It only went quiet and went deep and kept moving where you could not see it. That sound, that hidden moving water, is you. It is the part of you that is still alive and still going somewhere during the hardest months, even when everything on the surface looks frozen and finished. Hold on to that sound. We will come back to it. Look around the valley now, slowly, with the soft eyes of someone half asleep. The sky overhead is the deep blue-gray of a winter dusk that never quite becomes night and never quite becomes day. The snow lies in long, smooth drifts, blue in the hollows, faintly gold where the last light touches the high edges. Your breath rises and is gone. And there is a kind of beauty here that you could not see while you were still fighting to get out. A stark and honest beauty. The beauty of a place that has stopped pretending to be anything other than what it is. Winter does not apologize for being winter. It does not rush. It does not perform. It simply holds the world still and quiet while something underneath gets ready. You are allowed to be like that here. Still, quiet, honest, getting ready. And there is one more thing in this valley with you. Off to the side, set back against a low stone wall, there is a small hearth. Old stone, blackened by 100 winters of use. And in it a fire, but not a roaring fire. Not the bright leaping flames of your younger years, when your energy was loud and your courage was loud and you could afford to burn hot and burn fast. This is a banked fire. An ember. Someone, at some point, had the wisdom to bank it down, to cover the coals with ash, to make it small and slow and steady so that it would last all the way through the long night without burning out. It does not throw much light. It does not throw much heat. If you walked past quickly, you might think it had gone out. But lean close and you will feel it. A deep, low, patient warmth, glowing orange under the gray. Still there, still alive, saving itself. This is your Aries fire in the hardest months. You are ruled by Mars here, by the warrior, by the spark that wants to charge and act and prove. And the cruelest seeming part of this season is that Saturn will not let you charge. It banks your fire down, covers your coals. It asks the part of you that has always moved fast to learn, for the first time, how to move slow, how to wait, how to burn quietly and not go out. This feels like loss. Feels like your fire is dying. It is not dying. It is being taught to last. So let us walk through these hardest months now, slowly, the way you would walk through the rooms of a cold house, lighting a small lamp in each one. The first stretch is the descent. This is when you feel the weight gathering before you fully understand why. Things that used to work stop working. A relationship, a job, a way of seeing yourself, a story you told about your life. None of it collapses all at once. It just stops fitting the way a coat from childhood stops fitting. You reach for the old comforts and they have gone thin. You try harder at the old strategies and they return less. This is Saturn closing the distance to its exact seat, and the closer it comes, the more it asks you to notice what is already over, even if you have not admitted it yet. The second stretch is the floor. This is the deepest part, the exact center of the cold. Here often something does end. A chapter closes for good. And there is a peculiar feeling that comes with standing on the floor of the valley, which is that there is, strangely, nothing left to be afraid of. You feared the falling for so long, and now you have fallen, and you are still here, breathing on the frozen ground, and the thing you dreaded has happened and has not destroyed you. There is a terrible quiet peace in that. The bottom turns out to be solid. It holds. You can stand on it. The third stretch is the long flat middle. And this, for many people, is secretly the hardest part of the hardest months. Not the dramatic ending, but the long gray plain that comes after it, when nothing is collapsing anymore but nothing new is growing either. You are not falling, but you are not rising. You are just walking across the frozen floor, day after day, doing the small things, getting up, eating, working, sleeping, and wondering quietly whether this is simply your life now. This is the test of endurance. Saturn is asking, can you keep going when there is no reward in sight, no applause, no visible progress, only the next small honest step? Can you keep tending the ember when you cannot yet imagine the spring? The hardest thing about this stretch is that it does not look like anything. There is no story to tell about it, no dramatic photograph, nothing you could point to and say, this is why I am tired. From the outside, a person crossing the long flat middle of their Saturn return looks like they are simply living an ordinary quiet life. Inside, they are doing some of the heaviest lifting a human being ever does, which is to keep choosing their life on the days when their life offers them nothing back. There is a particular loneliness in carrying a weight that no one can see. So let me be the one who sees it tonight. If you are in the long flat middle, walking the frozen plain with no spring in sight, I want you to know that what you are doing is not nothing. It is the quiet, unglamorous, world-holding work of staying. And it counts. Every gray day of it counts. And the fourth stretch is the first crack of thaw. You almost never notice it when it begins because it is so small. A morning where you wake and the dread is a little lighter. A task that feels possible again. A moment of wanting something, of being curious, of laughing without effort. The ice on the river thins in one place and you hear the water more clearly. It is not over yet. But the floor of the valley is tilting upward now, so gently you can barely feel it, and the path ahead, though long, begins to climb. You will be tempted, when the thaw comes, to rush, to make up for lost time, to sprint toward the spring, to burn the ember back up into a blaze all at once. This is the old Aries fire waking again, and it is good that it is waking. But Saturn has one last quiet lesson in these final months, and it is this. The thaw too must be slow. Ground that froze all winter cannot be rushed into bloom without cracking. So you let it come at its own pace. You let the river widen one day at a time. You trust that the warmth you can feel returning does not need to be seized, because it is yours now, earned in the cold, and it is not going to leave you again. So what do these hardest months ask of you, as you lie here in the dark? They ask you first to stop fighting the season. So much of the suffering in the hardest 6 months is not the winter itself. It is the war against the winter, the exhausting effort to make it be spring when it is not spring yet, to force a bloom from frozen ground, to feel fine when you do not feel fine. Saturn asks you to lay that war down, to let winter be winter, to stop demanding that you be further along than you are. A great deal of that war is fought against an imaginary calendar. Somewhere along the way you absorbed a timeline of how a life is supposed to go. By this age, the work figured out. By this age, the person beside you. By this age, the home, the certainty, the sense of having arrived. And now you are in the hardest months, standing on the frozen floor, and you are measuring yourself against that calendar every single day and finding yourself behind on all of it. But that calendar was never real. It was a story stitched together from other people's surfaces, and it has nothing to do with the slow, true, underground way that an actual life grows. Saturn is, very patiently, in the cold, tearing that calendar off the wall. Let it go. You are not late. There is no train you missed. There is only your own life, growing at its own honest speed, in its own season, which is winter, for now, and which will not be winter forever. They ask you to make your life smaller and truer, to pull in close to the few things that are real. A little warmth, a little rest, 1 or 2 people who do not need you to perform, the honest work in front of you. Saturn always strips a life down to its load-bearing walls, and these months are the stripping. What is left when so much falls away is not less than you. It is the actual shape of you finally visible. They ask you to tend the ember and not the blaze, to stop measuring yourself by how brightly you are burning. In a season of banked fire, survival is not dramatic. It looks like going to bed at a reasonable hour. It looks like 1 glass of water, 1 short walk, 1 small kept promise to yourself. Do not despise the smallness of it. The ember that lasts the whole winter is worth more than the blaze that burns out in an hour. And they ask you to trust the sound of the hidden water, to believe, on the days when everything on the surface looks frozen and dead, that underneath it something in you is still moving, still alive, still carrying you toward a destination you cannot see from here. You do not have to see the spring to be on your way to it. You only have to keep listening for the river. There is one more thing they ask, and it is the gentlest of all. They ask you to be kind to the version of you who is living through this. Not the version you wish you were, not the one who would be handling it all with grace. The actual one, the tired one, the one who is doing the small things badly some days and barely at all on others, and who is still, somehow, getting up in the morning. That one deserves your kindness more than anyone. Saturn is hard so that you do not have to be hard with yourself. You can let the planet do the work of the lesson, and you can simply be tender with the person learning it. Speak to yourself, in these months, the way you would speak to a friend who was crossing a frozen valley alone. Not, "Why are you not further?" but, "Look how far you have come, and look, you are still walking." And because Saturn never takes without leaving something heavier and more lasting in its place, there are gifts buried in these hardest months. Let me lay 7 of them down beside you, 1 at a time, like stones warmed at the fire and tucked under a blanket. The first gift is the floor itself. You learn in these months that there is a bottom and that it holds. After this, you will never again be quite so afraid of falling, because you will have fallen and found solid ground. That is a freedom most people never earn. So much of the fear in your 20s was the fear of the fall, the dread of the worst case, the energy spent bracing against a collapse you were sure would end you. And now you have met it. The collapse came in its own way, and you are still here, breathing in the dark, listening to my voice. The worst was survivable. You will carry that knowledge like a stone in your pocket for the rest of your life, and it will make you brave in a way that the unfallen never are. The second gift is the stripping away. You learn the difference, permanently, between what is load-bearing in your life and what was only decoration. You will not waste your 30s propping up things that were never real. Saturn showed you, in the cold, exactly what holds your weight. The third gift is the slow fire. You learn how to last. You learn how to keep an ember alive through a long night, how to act without applause, how to continue when continuing is the only thing on offer. This is the deepest form of strength, and it is the one your younger self never had. The fourth gift is honest companionship. The hardest months quietly sort the people in your life. The ones who stayed close to you in the cold, who sat with you on the floor of the valley and asked for no performance. Those are revealed as your true and lasting people. You will know them now for the rest of your life. The fifth gift is the death of the impossible standard. Somewhere in the long flat middle, the version of yourself you were supposed to become by 30, the one in the imagined photograph, quietly dies. And what a relief it is, in the end, to bury that ghost. You are free now to become the real one instead. The sixth gift is patience, which Saturn gives to no one cheaply. You came into these months wanting it all now, the way Aries always does. You leave them knowing, in your bones, that the best things are built slowly, in the cold, out of sight, and that this is not a punishment but simply how anything real gets made. And the seventh gift is the spring itself, which is coming, and which will mean more to you than it ever could have meant to someone who had not survived the winter. The light returns more beautiful to the eyes that endured the dark. You will not take it for granted. You earned it on the frozen floor of the valley, one small honest step at a time. And when it comes, you will notice that you are not the same person who walked down into the cold. You are quieter now, and stronger, and harder to frighten. You know what you are made of because the winter showed you. You know which things to plant because the winter taught you what was worth the planting. The spring that follows a Saturn return is not a return to the old life. It is the first season of a truer one, built on ground that finally holds, warmed by a fire that finally lasts. That spring has your name on it. It is already on its way to you, even now, even tonight, while you rest in the dark and let the long work be done. So rest now. You are still in the valley, perhaps. The cold may not be over, but you can stop walking for tonight. You can lie down here on ground that holds you, and let the long night carry some of the weight you have been carrying alone. Listen. Underneath everything, under the silence, under the frozen surface of these hardest months, the water is still moving. You can hear it if you let yourself go quiet enough. That low, faint, continuous sound, still going somewhere, still carrying you. It never stopped. And the ember in the old stone hearth is still glowing, low and orange and patient under the ash. It did not go out. It is not going to go out. It is only burning slowly, the way a fire burns when it intends to last until spring. Let your breath grow slow and even now. In through the nose, soft and small. Out through the mouth, longer than it came. There is nothing left to do tonight. The hardest months are doing their slow and ancient work whether you watch them or not. And they do not need you awake. They only need you to keep breathing, and to keep being carried, and to trust the river you cannot see. Let the valley hold you. Let the dark be the warm furred dark of a place where the fire is banked and the night is long and someone has finally, gently, told you that you are allowed to rest. Feel your breath one more time, slow and unhurried, moving on its own without your help, in like cool air drawn over snow, out, like warmth returning to a banked hearth. You do not have to make it happen. It is happening. Your body knows how to do this, the way the river knows how to keep moving under the ice, the way the season knows how to turn even when no one is watching. Trust the part of you that knows. It has carried you through every hard night of your life so far, including the hardest, and it is carrying you still all the way down into sleep. The weight you came in with is lighter now. Let it grow lighter still. With every slow breath out, set down one more thing you do not need to hold tonight. The calendar, the comparison, the question of whether you are far enough along. Set it on the frozen ground beside you and let the snow cover it softly, and let it be there in the morning if it must, but not now. Not here. Here there is only the dark, and the warmth, and the quiet sound of moving water, and your own slow breath and rest. Drift now. Let the thoughts loosen and float off one by one, like breath into cold air, here and then gone. You do not need to follow them. You do not need to finish anything. You are exactly as far along as you are meant to be, and that is enough, and you are enough, and the spring is on its way to you even now in the dark while you sleep. May your sleep be deep. May your dreams be kind. May the morning find you warmer. Good night, friend. Good night.